UFC Fight Night, Oliveira versus Gamrot is happening this Saturday. We have our picks locked and loaded, and I have to say, this is a very weird card. You have some fights like Walter Walker, who's an exciting prospect on a 3-fight heel hook win streak, which nobody has ever been on a 3-fight heel hook win streak, versus Muhammad Usman, and that fight's on the prelims? It's the third fight of the night? That should be on the main card. Like, what are they thinking? And then on the main card, you've got some guys like Lucas Almeida, Michael Aswell, Ramos versus Offley. Like, why are these fights on the main card where you've got Walter Walker, man? But oh well. We're going to start from the top. The main event, Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. The past few days, I've been going in my head, and this is such a hard fight to pick. It really is. Because Oliveira, his chin has to be completely destroyed at this point. It has to be. But Mateusz Gamrot, he doesn't have knockout power in his fists. When's the last time Mateusz Gamrot legitimately knocked somebody out? It wasn't Fiziev. Don't be fooled by that KO TKO. Fiziev kicked into Gamrot's elbow and fucked up his ankle. Okay? It was all the way down here. Diego Ferreira. That's the last time Mateusz Gamrot had a finish. Back in 2021. I don't think Gamrot's going to finish Oliveira with his punches. And this is a 5-round fight, keep in mind. Now, Gamrot did beat Sarukian in a 5-round fight. His best win in his career. But Oliveira is so dangerous with the submissions and the grappling. But so is Gamrot. I really did not know. But I am picking Gamrot. And Gamrot is a slight favorite for a reason. And I think it is because Oliveira's coming in too soon. Too soon, and he is too unhealthy for lightweight at this point in his age. Oliveira is about to turn 36 next Friday. Gamrot's like 34, about to be 35 in December. So he's still younger by like a year and a half. Oliveira at lightweight doesn't really make sense anymore. He cuts so much weight, he looks like a starved Auschwitz survivor. It's that bad. And I know Gamrot's taking this on short-ish notice. Not super short notice. But Gamrot's a disciplined fighter. He fights for his weight class. And who knows, maybe he could knock Oliveira out after his chin has been completely compromised and deteriorated even further by that Topuria decapitation. Maybe that could happen. But if you can't finish off Ludovic Klein and some of these other guys, I don't know. Gamrot by decision? I think I could see Gamrot by decision. Remember, Oliveira is super chinny. I could see Gamrot knocking down Oliveira. Maybe, perhaps. Oliveira knocking out Beneil Dariush. That was a while ago. That was like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I don't see that for Gamrot. Gamrot's a durable fighter, remember. He survived Dan Hooker. He beat Jalen Turner, who was a dangerous striker at the time, not anymore. I'm sticking with Gamrot. And this is a make or break fight for Oliveira. If Oliveira loses this, he's not going to retire because guys like Oliveira don't retire until they're on like super long losing streaks. Like these Brazilians, they keep going. Oliveira's going to be fighting in his late 30s, possibly well into his 40s. Like look at Bigfoot Silva. Look at some of these guys. They don't retire when they should. They come from that culture, that poverty-stricken favela background. They keep going. A little part of it is delusion, thinking that they could be champion again. But another part of it is just that poverty mindset. Even though Oliveira's made so much money, he's a multimillionaire. For a Brazilian, he is in like the top 1% for sure, but he's going to keep going. And I think Oliveira is going to be like on a very long losing streak. I think he is. And if he loses to a guy like Gamrot, it's over for him. They're going to just put him up against some young, hungry killers at lightweight. Like, they're probably going to do Oliveira versus Ribovic or something like that. And I do see Ribovic knocking out Oliveira. I'm sticking with Gamrot. Now, I could see Oliveira winning in a submission type of way. Maybe he gets Gamrot's back. That'll be a hard thing to do. Gamrot is a very good grappler. He outgrappled Tsarukyan, and Tsarukyan beat Oliveira. This is an Oliveira that's even older and more brittle than the one that fought at UFC 300 against Tsarukyan. The more I think about it, the more comfortable I am with Gamrot, and he is that favorite for a reason, right? Minus 130, slight favorite, but a favorite nonetheless. I know a lot of people are going to pick Oliveira, and if Oliveira wins, I won't be shocked, but I think I am more comfortable sticking with Gamrot. I just am. Co-main event, Deiveson Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. I'm going to pick Montel Jackson. Deiveson Figueiredo is fighting at bantamweight, and he is 37 years old, about to be 38. 38 at bantamweight. And he's not even a super big bantamweight because he fought at flyweight. You're not Michael Johnson. This isn't the year of the Unks. You're not some of these old guys. Montel Jackson's a very dangerous puncher. Look what he did to Blackshear. He's on a 5 or 4 fight win streak. He's black, so you've got the melanin points, the BBC points. Deiveson Figueiredo looked terrible against Sandhagen, injured himself, and he's probably going to be coming into this fight with some slight injuries. I can't pick Deiveson Figueiredo. Losing to Petr Yan isn't that big of a deal. But that Sandhagen performance, man, like after that performance, I was like, oh, that's a retirement type of performance. But nope, no retirement. Again, Brazilians, Hispanics in general, like Latin America, they keep going. Deiveson Figueiredo's going to keep fighting until they get cut. And then he will keep fighting in some poor favela regional scene. He will be like a 42-year-old guy, like Jose Aldo. He's just going to keep fighting. And Montel Jackson, I think he's going to do a lot of damage to him. I don't know if this is a 5-round fight. I don't think it is. No, it's not. It's not, because it would say here it's three rounds. But yeah, I'm sticking with Montel Jackson. Vicente Luque versus Yoel Alvarez. This is at welterweight. Yoel Alvarez is a minus 500 favorite. And I remember him knocking out Jakar Close. He looks so massive for lightweight. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, how the hell does this guy make 155? He is like the same size as Ian Gary, as Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's like 6'2", 6'3", but he didn't look super skinny. He looked thick fighting at 155, but now he's fighting at 170. He's going to be even stronger and thicker. Vicente Luque, he got that good submission against Themba Gorimbo, but who else does he lose to? Kevin Holland? He loses to Joaquin Buckley? I'm picking Yoel Alvarez. Yoel Alvarez only lost to Arman Tsarukyan. Yeah. Yoel Alvarez beats up Vicente Luque, not by decision. It's going to be by knockout. TKO. Yoel Alvarez by TKO. Final prediction. Janata Deniz versus Mario Pinto. Now, see, this is what doesn't make sense, man. You've got these prelim fights, right? You've got Valter Walker, Muhammad Usman, Vitor Petrino, Thomas Peterson, these other heavyweight fights. Janata Deniz versus Mario Pinto isn't as exciting as Valter Walker is. It's just not. How can you be excited for this fight compared to Valter Walker? That being said, Mario Pinto, he knocks out Austin Lane, and so did Janad Deniz. Remember, both these guys knocked out Austin Lane, but Mario Pinto, he's only fought Austin Lane in the UFC, I believe. He fought in the Contender Series against somebody who I forgot. I'm not gonna see that Austin Lane knockout and say that you're gonna knock out Janad Deniz. Janad Deniz, meanwhile, he has fought multiple people already. Got bludgeoned by Tybura. I don't think Mario Pinto's gonna pose a grappling threat to Deniz. Beat up Austin Haynes, I think his name was, the fat guy that got busted for PEDs. PEDs. He also fought some other black guy, I remember. I think Janad Deniz has more experience than Mario Pinto. In the UFC, at least. But Mario Pinto, he's a slight favorite. But I'm just going to stick with Janad Deniz. Something tells me to pick Janad Deniz. I picked Janad Deniz in my first video on this channel against Austin Haynes. Was it Austin Haynes? I have to figure out for sure. That's his name, right? Austin Haynes? Alvin Hines. Why did I say Austin Haynes? Alvin Hines. Carl Williams. Austin Lane. Yeah. So he's had more experience in the UFC so far than Mario Pinto. Now, I could eat shit, and Mario Pinto just goes out there and knocks him out in the first round. But Janad Deniz throws shit back, okay? He does. This is the guy that fought in the octagon like 10,000 feet above in the air. Did you know that? They did like a little hot air balloon or like a blimp shit. It was like a skydiving thing that they brought an octagon up in the sky. Search that shit up. Like, it was crazy. This guy doesn't fear anything. So, I'm picking Janad Deniz. But it's heavyweight. Anything can happen. That's what's scary. And then from here on out, these fights are happening in the main card. Ricardo Ramos versus Khan Offley. I'm picking Ramos. He's a favorite. Turks aren't good at fighting. They're just not. I remember Ibo Aslan, he knocked out that chinny Brazilian, Cerqueira. And then people were hyping up about him. He loses to Elikana, loses to Kutelaba, loses to shitty guys. I think Khan Offley's similar situation. There's something about Turks that they're just dog shit. Turks are just dog shit at fighting. They are. And Ricardo Ramos, they're fighting in Brazil. So, the UFC matchmakers are trying to edge out the Brazilian fighters to win their matchups so that the crowd can love MMA more and keep coming back. It's a good business decision, by the way. So, the UFC wants guys like Ricardo Ramos to win in Brazil. That's why I'm picking them. Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. I was about to pick Lucas Almeida. But then I looked at what he looked like. And he's just a very odd-looking guy. And he has a very thin body. Can we see his body here? Yeah, there he is. Okay. Odd millennial Gen Z type of ugly tattoos, which are very uncommon for Brazilians. He kind of has the body of like a Sean Woodson. I don't like that. I really don't like that. And I looked at his record. He loses to guys like Andre Fili. I really, really don't like that. I'm not picking him. I'm not picking Lucas Almeida. I'm picking Michael Aswell. So we move on. Jafel Fio versus Clayton Carpenter. I'm picking Jafel Fio. Clayton Carpenter, white American boy that's flying all the way out to Rio just to lose. Flyweight. I can't be excited for flyweights, especially these types of matchups where, like, I'm going to be honest, I don't consider myself super hardcore, but I don't really watch flyweight all that much. I just don't. but I'm going to pick Jafel Fio. Brazilian in his home turf, that does have advantages, okay? Because this could go to decision. Flyweights have the lowest knockout percentages compared to all the divisions because they're smaller men. They hold less power in their fists. So you have to anticipate that the flyweight fights are going to go to decision. And if they are close fights, even if Clayton Carpenter wins because he has more strikes or has more ground control and this and that, if the fight's close, they're going to give it to the guy that's fighting on his home turf, and that's Fio. So, hometown fighters, they do have advantages. Heavyweight fight, though, Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. I don't think this is going to go to decision. Both these guys are grapplers, so you can anticipate some ground and pound or a submission. Now, Vitor Petrino, we like to talk about lighter man skill, but I don't think that matters that much in this fight because Thomas Peterson, he is a bloated up heavyweight himself. If Thomas Peterson really wanted to, he's like 6 foot, 6'1", he's not super big for heavyweight. If he wanted to, he could fight at light heavyweight. If he really wanted to, he could fight at middleweight, but he doesn't. So, I have to look at other aspects. Vitor Petrino, his heavyweight debut, chokes out Austin Lane. I don't care that he choked out Austin Lane. I really don't. That doesn't say anything. Anybody can beat Austin Lane. Thomas Peterson would beat Austin Lane. But before that, gets knocked out by Dustin Jacoby in identical fashion to where Usman knocked out Jorge Masvidal. And then before that, oh God, do you remember what happened before that? Because I do. Vitor Petrino goes for a takedown against Lionheart Smith, and he gets put in a guillotine. And he taps out. He taps out to Anthony fucking Smith. I can't pick somebody that loses to Anthony Smith in the year 2024. Pretty sure that was in 2024. Thomas Peterson, he's not great himself either, but he dominated Don'Tale Mayes. He beat up Muhammad Usman. Look, I'm just going to go with Peterson. He loses to the GOAT, Shamil Gaziev, the Dagestani diabetic himself. I'm not going to hold that against him because I think Shamil Gaziev can beat anybody at heavyweight. So we're going to stick with Thomas Peterson. Another aspect is Thomas Peterson is a white American. And he's flying out all the way here. And normally that would be a disadvantage. But because this is heavyweight, it's not going to go to decision. I think it's going to end by submission. Or by ground and pound. And also, Vitor Petrino lost his 2 fights in the UFC to white boys from America. And he's going to lose the 3rd fight to a white boy from America. And his name is Thomas motherfucking Porky Peterson. Thomas Peterson's going to destroy Vitor Petrino. And I know people are picking Vitor. He's a minus 265 favorite. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Thomas Peterson's a plus 200 underdog. Whoa. Whoa. No. I'm not picking Vitor Petrino. If you want to make some good money, don't take my gambling advice. Gamble safely, but if I had money, I'm putting it on Thomas Peterson. Okay. So there's the next fight, Irina Alekseeva versus Beatrice Mosquito. I'm picking Mosquito. Mosquito. Minus 600 favorite, huge favorite. Don't give a fuck, okay? I really wish these fights were in the bottom. Because, I want to watch Walter Walker on stream, but that means I would have to go through this. Ugh. I'm picking Mosquito. Lucas Roca versus Stuart Nicole. I think I picked Roca for this one, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I picked Roca. This is the flyweight fight that I think Roca is 5'2"? No, he's 5'3". He's the same height as Mighty Mouse. And Nichols 5'5", so this is a very, very short man flyweight fight. And the thing is that Roca, from this picture, hopefully he looks better, but this picture, he looks kind of small. You would think that at 5'3", you'd be very, very big and buffed out, but apparently not. But But I'm just going to stick with Roca. Or maybe I should... I don't know, man. Like, so far I'm picking all these Brazilians except for Oliveira. There's got to be one that gets upset. So, you know what? I'll pick Nickel. Because you're 5'3", and you don't even look super buff. And Australians are tough. They are. I'll pick Stuart Nickel, okay? I'll pick Stuart Nickel. Walter Walker versus Muhammad Usman. Why the fuck is this fight not in the main card? I'm picking Walter Walker. I picked Walter Walker against Kennedy Nzechukwu. Where everybody was picking Kennedy Nzechukwu, I picked Walter Walker to get the third heel hook. And I'm picking him again. Muhammad Usman, dog shit fighter. Dog shit fighter. He knocked out Zach Pauga with a very fast hook. And I thought, I was like, oh my god, this guy, he's going to go places like his brother. Nope. And he's not even super active. Just embarrassing. He looked shit against Abdul Wahab. I'm not picking Muhammad Usman. Also, Walter Walker, he's big. He's bigger than his brother, Johnny Walker. Like, taller. He's like an inch taller. And Johnny Walker's like 6'5", so he's like 6'6". So, yeah, Muhammad Usman, he's kind of short. Not that that makes, a difference. I mean, we've seen short guys knock out big dudes. But Muhammad Usman can't even close the distance against Abdul Wahab. What makes me think that he's going to close the distance against a bigger guy like Walter Walker? It doesn't make me think that at all. This fight, I picked the favorite. So, yeah, Julia Polastri versus Carolina Kowalkiewicz. She's a hot Polish. Some of these Europeans, they're really hot. But Julia Polastri looks European herself, too, even though she's Brazilian. And then this fight, Simon Oliveira versus Luan Lacerda. I'm a casual. I don't know who these fuckers are. I have no idea who these guys are, but I'm picking Lacerda. And those are my picks. Gamrot, Jackson Alvarez, Denise, Ramos, Aswell, Filio, Peterson, Mesquita, Nicole. I changed to Nicole last second because he's Australian. Walter Walker, Polastri, Lacerda. A weird card. Weird ordering. Maybe they'll change the ordering later. I hope they do. Because this looks kind of bad. Like, I really don't want to see these women fights in between the more exciting heavyweight fights. That's really just strange. But Gamrot, if Gamrot wins this, dude, if Gamrot wins this, he'll go from number 8 to being in the top 5. He'll be the real deal at that point. They might give him Holloway. It'll be Gamrot versus Holloway, right? Because I don't think Holloway's going to fight anybody else anytime soon. Dan Hooker's fighting Arman. Gaethje's going to probably fight Topuria. Unless they do Holloway versus Patty. I don't know, though. I don't know what they're going to do with Patty. People are going to grill me for this, but I think Gamrot does have the potential to beat Ilia Topuria. I do. I do, man, because he's a grappler. Like, people say, oh, Arman Tsarukyan has the biggest chance to beat Ilia Topuria. Why do they say that? Because Arman Tsarukyan is a grappler. Because he's strong. Okay? Gamrot beat Tsarukyan. So you could say that Gamrot is a better grappler than Arman. He got caught by Dan Hooker, but Dan Hooker's a tall, rangy striker fighter, and it was a split decision. Topuria's not tall and rangy. He's short and stocky, which is also dangerous in its own right. But if anybody can negate those big inside hooks, it could be a grappler like Gamrot. So if he wins this fight, it's not going to be a title shot. He would still have to fight somebody else. And Ilia might not even ever be interested in fighting a guy like Gamrot, a low caliber, low fame fighter like him. he would probably move up to welterweight or probably try some shenanigans in boxing, because I don't think Ilya's in this. You have to think, like, when you're famous and you make the money, fighting in MMA, it does do a lot of damage to your body. It's a big risk. And he probably only has like 2 more fights. Ilya does, which is sad. It's really sad, but that's the way things are. Those are my picks and predictions. We're getting all these picks right. 100% right. You heard it here first. Peace out. Subscribe to my channel, motherfuckers.